Hello everyone, today I'll be talking about the acquisition of second language learning, so let's get started. So how to acquire second language acquisition? Well, the easiest answer is that language acquisition is the process by which humans acquire the capacity to perceive and comprehend language. And the most likely level of linguistic production to retain some foreign feature is pronunciation. So let's talk about that. The acquisition of the second language first starts with pre-production. So the levels of this is that it has minimal comprehension. Students cannot verbalize things at all. They do not verbalize. They usually use their body language to express their thoughts and feelings, such as nodding when they say yes or no. And they usually draw and point what they try to tell to the teacher or to the other people around them. So teachers have to be cautious in subscribing to any instructional approach which is narrowly focused or dogmatic, and teachers have to know that there is no best way to learn or teach a second language when it comes to this step. So the next step is early creation. It has limited comprehension, produces 1 or 2 word responses, and students at this level can only use keywords and familiar phrases that they hear all the time from other people or from their teachers, and they start to slowly develop the ability to use present tense verbs and approach learning and teaching tasks with appreciation of the multiple dimensions that are involved at this stage for teachers, of course, which are linguistic, psychological, and social. Teachers have to look at the social factors of these students to make sure that they are more involved with what they're learning so that they can be more participative in the lesson that they're in. And the other part is speech activation. At this stage, students start to slowly speak in not full but understandable words that they can create by themselves or by mimicking other people. They have good comprehension at this stage. They can produce simple sentences and can make some grammatical and pronunciation errors, but it is accepted at this stage, and they can frequently misunderstand jokes as they do not fully understand the context on which that letter or word is used. And at this stage, the most likely way for the students to understand these foreign comprehensions is to make sure that the social meaning of variants are appropriate for the choice of different registers. So the teachers have to make sure that they approach each lesson by making sure what the student knows and make sure that they understand the level that the students are at. So they have to find long-term advances for an early start or exclusive use of the L2 in the classroom, and many language educators and policymakers have to continue to adapt these practices, such as basing their choice on institutions and public opinion rather than evidence from research. So they have to create their own methods and then share them with the other teachers rather than just using methods that were created by other people. And the other step is intermediate fluency. Again, at this stage, the students have excellent comprehension, but they start to make few grammatical errors. And at this stage, they can start to form their own sentences, not just by repeating people or hearing what they have heard. And at this stage, teachers have to recognize the achievement in their learning process, but teachers also have to be patient, as at this stage, students can still make mistakes and still create errors. So teachers have to be patient, as learning a language takes a lot of time, especially second language learning processes have to be very done in a patient manner. So, and the best way to approach this is that most likely is that learners will have to select a more limited lexical repertoire So then the native speakers will have the same educational level and will probably not use the same words as the same probability of occurrence in the same phrasal units, such as collocations, and will not recognize the connotations or allusions which require culture information and experience. So they still have a lot of steps to go. They still have to understand the culture of that language that they're learning as well. And the last level that the teachers and the students will have to work on is advanced fluency. At this stage, the student has a near native level of speech. They can produce their own words, understand what other people say, and can start to slowly understand what they're doing wrong and what they're doing right. Their pronunciation gets a little bit better, so they can communicate with people better without any misunderstandings at all. And at this stage, while the English adjective may be correct semantically and grammatically, it may sound odd in written academic contexts where a native speaker would use different languages than them. So they still have a lot of steps to go, but at the last stage, they will slowly start to understand the language that they're speaking. It's not about language at all, but being part of a culture as well. So this was my speech on acquiring second language learning. Thank you for listening.